Hi, welcome to Informatica support videos. This is Ravikant Singh from Global Customer Support. As part of this video, we will be going through steps to configure match rule for a particular base object. There are primarily 4 steps to configure a match rule. We need to define match path, we need to define fuzzy match key, we need to define match columns, and we need to define match rule sets using those match columns. After all this, we will be executing the match job and looking at the results. So let's have a quick demo. As you can see, we have a very simplified data model for the demonstration. We have party base object, which is related to address base object using party address rel. We will be performing match for party base object. So here are some of the columns of the party base object. Let's go to match and merge setup. The first step is to define match path. Match path is a concept where we want to denormalize in such a way that we can access the attributes of related entities. Now these attributes can be important for defining match rules for a particular base object. For example, we have a party record, but I cannot decide just by the attributes of the party record. I cannot decide just by the name of the party. I need to see whether a particular party record is living same address as compared to with other party record. If they are in same address, we have high chance that they are same. So we will be using the address to perform matches on party. To do that, we need to get address attributes, and to get address attribute, we need to define match path till address business object. So we'll be defining match path here. We need to define the immediate relationship table, that is our party address rel. Same way we will be defining relationship to address. After defining match path, let's go to match columns. We need to define the key type. There are 3 possible key types provided in MDM. We have person name, organization name, and address part 1. Let's use person name, and we need to define what column we're gonna use as a person name key. More often than not, we use concatenated first, middle, and last name as a person name. Let's follow the trend. So after defining the fuzzy match key, we can actually define more columns. We can define an exact column, or we can define a fuzzy column. Let's define a fuzzy column. And notice here, we can take attributes from the root record, that's our party base object, or we can take attributes from the relationship tables or to the address table in this particular case. Let's take some attributes from address table and define a fuzzy match column on those. We have address line 1, 2, and state. Now all fuzzy match column, they need to be mapped to these fields, and these are fields provided by the underlying match engine. So let's decide that address line 1 and address line 2 together, they form corresponding address part 1. Save it. Let's define an exact column, and this time let's take this exact column from root component itself. So let's say customer type, give it a name, hit OK. Same way I have created address type as an exact column. So now I can see I have two exact column and two fuzzy column, and one being fuzzy match key as well. And I can see that two of the column are coming from the root component and two of the columns are coming from the related BOs which are other than root. One more important thing to note is that address part 1 is actually the concatenation of address line 1 and address line 2 of address base object. Now let's define some match tool sets. To define a match tool set, we need to define the search level. In MDM, matching is performed in a two-phase manner. First, we will use the match keys to limit the candidates, and then on top of candidates we perform the actual matching. The first step we call it search. We can define, like, if we want what kind of search we want. It can be narrow, typical, exhaustive, and extreme. Let's go with typical. Now let's define a particular match which we will perform for a candidate record. We want to be a fuzzy match tool. We can have exact as well. So let's have with fuzzy. Which all columns we want to have in this fuzzy match tool. Remember, for a fuzzy match tool we can have fuzzy columns as well as exact column. So let's say person name, customer type, and address type. These all should match to have a match on the party base object. We need to define the match purpose. Match purpose is nothing but defining an algorithm by which matching is performed. Let's say we choose person name so that we can use person name as a fuzzy column. Now if I happen to use resident as a matter of fact and say okay, so resident as a purpose, it has certain mandatory columns. You need to have address part 1 if you are using resident as a person name. Let's go back to the person name, and which has only unique column, that is person name, and we are providing that. Say okay. Now we have defined a match tool which is fuzzy match tool. Let's define another match tool. This time I want to be exact. You can see only exact columns are available, and this is just for demonstration. I do not have any exact field on which I would really want to have an exact match tool, so I'll not create that, and I will save this. Once we have match tool saved, let's look at our sample data. We have a couple of records, and you can see that records are quite similar. They are exact. Mary H. Parker, same as Mary H. Parker, but they are from different address. Some records are similar, for example Matthew Bullock to Matt Bullock. So let's run match job, but before running the match job we need to generate match keys, and we call it as match tokens. So we'll go to batch viewer and we'll go to party base object, and we will generate match tokens. Match tokens are nothing but creating the keys we have defined. As you can see, we have created tokens for 8 records. Let's run the match job. You can see that we have identified 4 records for manual merge. We do not have any auto merge rule, so we do not got any, but we got 4 records which are to be performed manually if you want to merge those. So we'll go and revisit those records. and for that we'll go to Merge Manager. And you can see that on the top we got a particular record and the match record for that. Using Merge Manager, data stewards can act on manual queue. They can perform match, or they can identify a particular record or certain number of records as unique. With this information, that completes the demonstration, and we always love to hear from you. Please give your feedback to supportvideos@informatica.com, or you can use twitter.com/infosupport to provide your valuable feedback. Thanks for your time.